the 39-month resub as well. Welcome back. We get this underway. In the bottom right side, the blue Protoss player, the Shopify Rebellion, it is Harstem. Taking on the red Terran from Team Liquid, it is Clem. Stepped up when his team needed it against Bjorn. How far can he go? How much damage can he deal to this roster of the Rebellion before he is halted? And not shortly, as Rack's couple of gases all coming through. Got a gateway and the assimilator all coming out as well, so we got a little bit of everything on the way up just to start us off. Racks and the gas continuing in for the moment. Let's just see where things are gonna go. Cybercore coming through, we get that on the way up, we get this all started in. So getting everything ready for a couple of moments there. You can see now assimilator coming down too, so we get that set up as well. And just having ourselves the Nexus, the Cybercore all coming up. A little bit of everything coming through for the moment in these early stages. We're around the right-hand side, gonna move across to the watchtower. Factory coming up, factory coming in. I'm just gonna see our probe continue to scout about for the moment. Clem is obviously just getting himself that earlier factory before expanding, so this is a very common thing to do nowadays in TVP, just to get set up into the more aggressive setup, and then to kind of work forward from there and to try and find something from that point onward. Reaper hopping up, Reaper hopping down, going all around as we just see. Again, a Twilight Council currently building in, so we get that all on the go. We get this all setting up. As the Reaper continues around the far right-hand side for a couple more moments, we get this all on the way. For now, going to be seeing our starport about halfway done. Well, Harstem's build has not exactly been anything too wondrous. He's just going to open up with the Blink play, which, well, we know Clem's very good against that. Otherwise, he would never be winning series against Max Packs. That's the thing. Clem is good all around. I feel like going Stargate can be very dangerous against Clem as well, because he can be so good at hitting those timings, especially with some of these Cyclone timings that can just be so deadly to you as well. So that also feels like a little bit of a factor to be keeping in mind. There's a couple of depths and the Stalker just continue to chase the little Reaper away there, pushing it back over to the sides just for the moment. Liberate and the Cyclone both coming through. CV coming around again. A couple Marines, Cyclone just coming up. We got a little bit of setting up across the board right here. As you see the Liberate on the way from Clem, so some harassing options for him coming through as well. Always nice to see that we'll have some of those available to him very shortly. I have the Widow Mine drop already coming in as well, so that comes straight through here. See the probe's going to start taking just little bits of damage, perhaps. Obviously, Clem unburrowing and not letting them go off on too little. He wants to waste as much mining time as possible. That's one of the big things about this sort of play. You can kill so much mining time in these situations. And now Clem pushes on the third base, and Harstem has to roll Stalkers across. Going to lose the pylon pretty quickly, so it's going to go down without too much of a question mark. Now the Marines and the Cyclones start to get pushed away again. Now they start to get shoved out of here, and that will settle that down for just a little bit. Someone probe sat behind the mineral line over here, and you see the Stalkers moving up, going to walk straight into this group of Marines. Well, the Marines will start going down, trying to make the most of the high ground, and the Liberator comes back in. That will start to get some probes, so Harstem being a little bit punished for maybe not having the correct amount of units at home currently, so just needs to get those. Back at home, back defensive, just make sure this Lib doesn't do too much more. But 4 probes, Widow Mine drop comes in as well. Harstem being tested, does pull that single probe forward. It does go off. Clem saves the Widow Mine, super low HP. Obviously, that's going to be difficult to get back into play, but even just sitting there is something you then have to consider. It's only going to be easily stopped if you leave a unit behind to deal with it, and that's a benefit that Clem will happily take. 5 probes off the back of this harassment. Clem sitting pretty, and Stim Pack and +1 upgrades continue through as well. So we continue to bring that all on the way out. Again, plenty of units ended up going down from Clem out in the middle of the map, so that was something at least from Harstem, but I am worried about his economy. It's being slowed down a lot, workers are being pulled multiple times, and he currently only sits 4 workers ahead, which really isn't as nice a place as you might like it to be. You might like it to be a little bit in a better position than that, right? Harstem still keeping a little bit of a scout on the go, still keeping that stalker around to see what else is going on. 1-1 upgrade, Stim Pack, Combat Shield again. A little bit of everything just coming through for the moment. All of that rolling for now. Units just coming out the front of the natural. Stalker moving about a little bit as well. So just got this Raven going to go between the natural and the 3rd base. Continue to bring that across. And yeah, Stim Pack, Combat Shield, +1 attack. All of this continuing through for the moment. Game settles here. What would we like to see? I mean, what are we aiming towards? Obviously, Clem, as he gets upgrades completed. We're kind of expecting Clem to be on the map kind of soon, right? He's got a 3rd CC coming up, and maybe he'll make some steps forward to help defend that 3rd CC in the next few moments. But yeah, other than that, I guess he's just sitting back and waiting on this harass to just keep his opponent busy, and he's just going to be fairly content with that, it seems. So, seems to be Clem keeping himself, like I say, fairly content for the moment. Also, I'm introducing with the Robo facility some Immortals as well. It's just going to buff up that army. Interesting little idea, actually, to get these Immortals out. We've seen a few players kind of playing a little bit more Immortal heavy than they have been doing beforehand. So, one of these things is becoming a newer concept again. A few Immortals into that army composition and just making it so that's a little bit tougher to really work through that Protoss force in any sort of super quick manner, as the Prism in the main base is going to get a big warping off, so that has to pull back. Do we have anything else striking at the same time? Not really. 4 probes go down to Liberate. I was kind of thinking, was Harstem going to find a way to move forward like on the natural or so, because that was a pretty big warping, which would have been fine. This is the sort of warping which I like a lot more if Clem is just about moving out on the map. I didn't feel like Clem was doing that at all. Clem was so quick to move back in the main. He doesn't lose an SCV. This on, in the end, feels like a little bit of a Zealot donation from Harstem. Yeah, obviously it stops Clem from coming across the map, but if Clem wasn't even moving across initially, I mean, you saw how easily he got back in there to defend it, so this makes you wonder how worthwhile that really was. It's gathering up on the front. We're going to be seeing those few Zealots coming forward as well. Just going to clash into a few of those bio units. A couple of Order turrets going down as well. Picking their way through this. Probe still going down. The Medevac's going to boost in towards the main base. Bio units all coming about. And the Prism might be a target here nice and easily. The Viking is going to get rid of that Prism. A couple more Widow Mines coming out once again. We're just going to be seeing another Widow Mine shot coming through. It's going to be able to get rid of a few of those Zealots. Clem playing the defense in the middle of the map, catches a bunch of Zealots as well. So this time Clem is pushing while Harstem is getting these drops off. Does Harstem overcommit to warp-ins across the map? Is he okay over here still? Force field's coming down. This is where the Immortals are meant to boost your army up a little bit. As Clem is still fighting through those force fields, still chasing forwards. Clem is not being dissuaded by Harstem's force in the slightest just yet. +2 attack, +2 armor, both on the way through as well. Bio continues to stem forward, just going to be having ourselves go towards this Nexus. mean, Clem never really got pushed away from this position, so he can continue to establish the push that he was initially coming forward here with. And that's exactly what he will do as he moves straight in position. And, well, I mean, the couple of tanks on the low ground are so nice. You see one Immortal going to wander across to start working on that tank. There's kind of enough bio to stand here and fight, seemingly so. But we kind of need more Zealots, right? The Zealots are that kind of buffer unit that protects everything else. I tell you what, that Immortal did do a good job clearing up the tanks at least. The Widow Mines are set and still ready to go again. Again, we talked a lot about Widow Mines and their efficiency yesterday in day one of the playoffs. This is another of those times where the Widow Mines, should they fire a second time over, have so much potential, have so much opportunity in terms of what they may do. Unit's still coming up. We're just going to be seeing a couple of Widow Mines trying to get burrowed as well. Still fighting the few more Zealots, continuing to get taken down just little by little. Now the Nexus comes into the middle of the map. That's going to be base number 5 attempted from Harstem. So he's still keeping his bases going. It's just he's constantly down about 15-20 supply. And yet to see Harstem really hit the army composition where I'm like, oh yeah, this is potentially scary, you know? It just feels like he's constantly not quite there. It's obviously very Zealot heavy. Widow Mines are going to connect after the EMP came down, so a lot of those Zealots start getting cleaned out pretty swiftly, in fact, so damage being done. Clem trying to chase through, get on towards those Immortals. EMP on those would be amazing, right? Take their shields off, pop barriers, and then Clem may be able to really continue forward. Just opening up a little bit more of a supply advantage once again is Clem, as Harstem tries to play the defense, tries to hold on. He's getting close to 2-2 upgrades as well, which another little advantage, but then again, Clem is also on his way to his +2 armor to finish up his own 2-2, so both players kind of playing on a similar state upgrade-wise. Go back and forth. Still these Immortals, I mean, mentioned how they were going to kind of bulk up the army. They've definitely done that. They're the one thing that's been such consistent through all of this as well, most notably. Still coming across here, just going to be having the Colossus coming around as well. A few more Ghosts, Marauders, Vikings, Marines all continuing out as well at the moment. We continue to come through with this Bio Force. Diving in a little bit. I mean, I like that switch into Colossus, but it feels like it's leaving Harstem a little vulnerable in a moment where he has been losing a little bit here and there. He does get 9 SCVs. Finally, some Zealot counter-attacking that actually results in real work and damage. It feels like we've not seen enough of that. 16 SCVs going down, now 19. This actually turned into a bigger problem for Clem. We're not looking at it, but there we go. It was in the picture-in-picture, I believe, so. Harstem loses the forward base, but as he does get a lot of SCVs. He's still losing probes himself, however. Harassment once again, double Liberate showing up. I tell you what, these Liberators have done such a wondrous job for Clem. They have found damage throughout this game for him, especially in moments where it doesn't necessarily feel as though he maybe would have had too many opportunities to do anything else. So, really being able to somewhat capitalize on that. It's great to see from Clem. Like I say, the Liberators have been such a monumental difference maker. Without them, this could have been a very different game. Game is still close enough. It's just I worry a little bit about Harstem's army. His army supply is really lacking, and he doesn't really have that much splash in the game right now. You can see it here, not enough Zealots to truly slow down this Bioforce. Yeah, worker damage was done, but Rebellion, well, even, right? I mean, if Clem wins this game, right now, if Clem, you know, as it stands, obviously Liquid have a lead because Clem's 1-0 up. If Harstem get to 1-1, then it's even. Both teams will have lost 2 lives. If Clem gets to 2-0, it's going to be Liquid's first real proper lead of the series, as then you will send out one more player as Shopify Rebellion. The player after that is likely going to be a Björn Revive, assuming they think Björn is maybe the best chance against the Terran combo of Kira and Clem, and whoever may be revived between those guys a bit further down the line as well. All of those definitely possibilities. As the racks and the gas coming on up, we get this all underway. Couple gas coming through, getting things settled for a few moments. Gonna be seeing our gateway and our barracks all continuing up. Just gonna be seeing our SCVs coming into production as well, so that also continues forward just for the moment. Got this all setting up to play. Reaper in the orbital coming through too. Axe is going down, Cybercore is building. Gonna be seeing a factory coming up as well. Again, no surprise to see Clem just playing it fairly safe by taking this expansion quickly, taking this expansion a bit slower and getting into the tech more quickly in these early stages of the game. Makes a lot of sense, something we've seen happen a good few times beforehand. No difference to our expectations in that regard. Not too much, at least. Probe coming up to the top side of the map, so it's going to start moving across here and towards the natural and towards the main base to see what is going on. Stargate building, Stalker on the way up, Warp Gate coming through as well. A little bit of everything on the way in for now. Ripper needs to sit around the side. See a couple Cyclones still producing through from Clem, so that's going to be his way of really being able to apply some pressure, right? You know, potential to come across the map, get in position. Those Cyclones are such a dangerous unit to have to play against as of late, so definitely expecting those to be something of a factor across the course of this. Cyclones come through. The Wolf Gate is gonna the Watchtower going to be held by the Cyclones. Again, big map, and it's one of those maps where it's so difficult to justify ever attacking in, because by the time you get to the other side, the few extra seconds it takes across this map is the difference in StarCraft 2, right? StarCraft 2 is such an intense and tight game that can really have a big impact and really make a big difference a lot of the time, I think. Two Stalks on Adept coming around. The Reaper getting pushed away for the moment. So we got that stim coming through, the Marine on the way out as well. So again, a little bit of all of that continuing to get into play for the moment. So going to see a couple Stalkers trying to fight. Reaper is going to take some shots of damage. And the Cyclone's locking on, going to go after a couple of these Stalkers. The Phoenix very nearly going down as well. Actually scary, right? You're so Phoenix reliant. To take damage like this on the Phoenix so soon is rough, because if you're going to try and lift up units to defend here, then the Phoenix can get targeted down more quickly if they've already lost HP. So that becomes a very scary prospect as Clem sits just on the outskirts of Harstem's base. A few more Stalkers warp in. I think we're getting to the point where this is not really justifiable for Clem. And Harstem realizes that as well as he begins to chase this down. Marines are going to have Stim, though. So actually with Stim, maybe they can still get something done, pressing forward a little, trying to make their way in for a few moments. You can see the Stalkers continue to chase. Cyclones taking some damage as they get pushed on away. Turning around, Phoenix taking some damage there as well. I mean, the kiting of the Cyclones is what's really going well. We're going to lift up a couple right away here. The Marines do have the ability to, again, put out some good hurt, especially with the Stim Pack upgrade. Their DPS is pretty darn high. We're going to reinforce here a little bit as Clem also, as he very nearly gets another Phoenix that just about lives. He's killed a few Phoenix in general here. And, you know, he killed a couple, and that's enough of a slowdown, I feel like, on this composition of Harstem to be significant, so feeling okay about that. Plus one attack, a couple of shells coming in, a couple of Marauders still coming through also, just for the moment, so we get all of that on the way by. Just for the moment here, keep that going. Medevac's going to boost around the backside. Just going to be getting into towards the main base for the next couple of moments. Actually going to unload and going to force a recall, so a bunch of units getting recalled back here as well. It's going to be seeing 13 probes going down. That's a massive drop from Clem, just straight in. 13 workers. He might lose everything, but at least he kills a little bit of army in the process as well, shooting a Phoenix out of the sky as we go. So he's resetting the tech of Harstem as this commitment happens. Harstem has the goal to try and prop him up in this game, and prop him up is kind of what he needs it to do right now because things have not been looking pretty for a little while at this stage. Things are definitely I mean, worker damage like that especially is so hard to come back from, but like I say, with the gold base, it's more doable than it usually would be, so there are chances here from Harstem that might not typically exist. That's Medevac here going to be hunted down, and the last couple of units from this attempted onslaught will be stopped. Clem moves into the center of the map at the same time. Again, so good at keeping one army moving elsewhere just to take advantage of the army movement of your opponent that you're causing with something else. So just move into the center. Doesn't have a lot of units here, but still a reinforcement point for the next few moments. Further reinforcements can come and take this sort of position and join in at this point as the bio continues back through. See one extra Zealot on the way by. Zealot Archon Stalker still collecting in the center of the map. Zealot Stalker Archon coming back over this direction as well. It's just a little bit of action back over here. As we do have the +2 armor upgrade coming out as well with everything else. Just going to be seeing the Cyclone and the Pylon locking in. Makes his way back to the middle once again, just trying to hold this position. Again, Harstem playing 4 bases, has a gold mixed into that as well, so again his economy is looking pretty darn good. When you look at the kind of overall setup, it's then when you look at the numbers that you're like, okay, well actually only 62 probes maybe ain't so pretty against Clem's 69, so Clem actual numbers is maybe a little bit better for himself. Clem scans up toward the high ground a little bit, trying to see a little bit of what is going on. Trying to pick up information here, there, and everywhere as Medevac's just cruising about. Clem in no rush apparently. He's not rushing to get rid of, well, anything right now. By coming across, still chasing those other units away. We're going to be having a couple of Zealots getting chased down also, so just pushing that all back. Again, this kind of has reminiscence of the last game, right, where we had moments where Clem was starting to push forward, and suddenly he's just catching himself a few Zealots here and a few Zealots there, so next, I'm going to take a few more shots, just getting pushed away over to the sides. Fire still pressing forward, a couple of these Stalkers taking hits as we go. Still an army on the bottom side, getting repositioned just that little bit too. Just going to stand here, a couple of Widowmine shots start going off. Stalkers, Colossi. Here's forward, the Phoenix getting on top as well because there's no anti-air anymore, just that Viking. The Widowmines will get a couple of shots though. Clem being forced backwards. As he gets forced backwards, he's got many more units to play with. That's where the main clump of Harstem's army is starting to arrive as well. Starting to see that show up just a little. And as we do push forward, a couple more Phoenix being taken out. Harstem's still competitive in the center, and at some stage again, the size of this map continues to kick into play. Harstem, continues to expand. He's got a lot of bases open to him. the next real challenge for Harstem is he hits Colossus count in a good way. He probably wants to switch into some Disruptors here as well. Then the next challenge for Harstem really would be, how do you incorporate the Stargates, the Fleet Beacon, and you start move towards carriers in a safe and timely manner? Because like I say, for me, that's where Harstem plays his best games of PvT. He's kind of gone through the portion of this game where you have to survive at first. Yes, he's maybe not fully set up on his splash damage to do that kind of switch yet, but soon enough, we should be set up on that splash damage. And that's where things are going to start to become very, very interesting. Two more gates and a robo facility going down and get those set up. Still seeing an army coming through the center of the map here from Harstem, so moving over to that right hand side. The scanning coming about for a little bit, just trying to see what else is going on. Good mine going off, couple stalkers taking hits. Going back and forth once again. I'm just not really trying to be as aggressive anymore. He's just saying, okay, if you want to press into me a little bit, that's fine. You do that. I'm just going to sit here and let you kind of make your moves. I'm not really feeling any pressure at all just yet as a Widow Mine shot goes off. A couple of units get caught in that. Another Disruptor shot pops out at the same time. Still coming through. A couple of Stalkers getting picked away at. More scan comes through, just going to be seeing this Stalker Colossus Force keeps on pressing forward. Bio will come through, EMP's available as well to go down on a chunk of those Archons perhaps, as a few more Viking shots coming through as well. Get back to the middle of the map here too, it's just going to bring that straight over. As you see a Disruptor shot going down the ramp, we split apart, another Disruptor shot comes through at the same time. Shots flying around, another one tries to land, doesn't quite get far enough forwards. As we move further up this ramp, units are still being chased away. Stalker, Disruptor, Archon pressing through. That's a Disruptor shot coming by. Nearly landing, not quite in the end. Just going to be seeing the Bioforce still pressing in. Another Archon will go down. So the Disruptor shot comes through as well. Clem takes a couple of steps backwards. Disruptor still firing forward. Just going to be seeing Disruptor shot after the Disruptor shot lands and lands and lands. Scan out to the bottom once more, just going to be seeing an attempted Nexus coming in. Clem scanning all over, wants to see if there's a transition coming up. I think most importantly, he needs to know if his opponent is going to try and make that switch toward the Stargates. So I think he wants, I think that's why he's scanning everywhere. He's like, okay, I'm just making sure I'm not about to suddenly have like 3 to 6 carriers in my face and some trouble abound, because then Clem will add on more Starports, he will begin to build more Vikings. Until then, he doesn't want to build too many Vikings because there's no real Colossi to face against currently. To be a little cautious, right? Like if you have too many Vikings, well, yeah, then you get into a lot of trouble. Colossi being killed off here even. Harstem makes space for what is apparently going to be a DT warp in. He's killing the other Colossi off quickly. He just does not feel like these are ever going to find value anymore, so he gets rid of them. The DT numbers are going to start moving around the map in a big way. That DT harass getting set up then in the next few moments. Jump into the bottom right hand side. Planetary going to get knocked down immediately. Scanning about, these couple DTs still getting chased as well, so going to be seeing those going down here as the Bio. Actually, getting rid of DTs is huge because they're pretty expensive investments, so to actually see them dying off is, like I say, a pretty big deal. Still fighting here. Disruptor's going to force the split backwards. So can Disruptors move about again? We've got these ghosts in position ready to deal with anything here immediately. He's still thinking of coming back across for a few moments. As we dive forward, the EMP goes down, the Disruptor shot still comes through. Jumping into that bottom right corner, CC is going to get picked away at. That is going to start to go down. Clem has plenty of CCs to replace with though, so Harstem, as he pushes, needs to be careful because the damage he's fighting in Command Center and economy-wise is maybe not really that meaningful. If he loses too much of his army, it could be troublesome. Clem does get 6 probes back in return across the map. Harassment coming through from him throughout the course of this. Also still pushing into this position. One of these Liberators further back is going to do its best to help hold this off. Some of these Stalkers getting chipped at. Disruptors will fire through. Clem dodges one. The next one actually hits pretty decently. All things considered, better than expected. Clem continues to chase down, trying to get on top of those few Stalkers. Another Disruptor shot coming by, but not quite getting far enough in. Clem maintains the supply lead, and he has done so kind of throughout these battles. Again, it's frustrating because Clem can't just take one big fight forwards. You've got to respect the Disruptors, which can basically constantly fire throughout this. But I mean, he is just kind of continuing to kite backwards each and every time and making something of this. Another Disruptor shot doesn't land there, and we continue to push through. One more Disruptor going down. Scan still in place. Prism decides to pull back once more for the moment. They're still pressing forward, and a few more of these Disruptors again absolutely dropped. Liberator's coming around as well. Another Disruptor gets picked up. Another Disruptor shot firing forward. Stalker's coming through. Liberator's all sieging up. These Stalkers getting pushed away. The couple of Disruptors will fire up this round. Harstem's supply just keeps on dropping off. Losing a few more probes here and there. I mean, his probe count isn't really a problem. The problem is he's not finding any sort of efficiency in his fights. Stalker Disruptor is such a runaround composition, and yet now you're kind of running into the issue of your own map pick, which is that these bases are very well set up defensively for Clem, and so there's not a lot of running around to do. Clem can sit in good defensive spots, up ramp, splitting the map, and just kiting back from Disruptor shots again and again. As Harstem tries to dive by, Clem is just a little bit too good when it comes to TVP. Clem is going to shut this one down. Absolutely. Yeah, just stops him. Harstem never made that expected switch in my eyes towards the Sky Toss. That, for me,